Let's do it.
Do it.
All right. think we're live now. And people can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God. Okay. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm the biggest boomer ever. And that's got a lot to do with the reason why I'm doing this.
All right, man.
It's all good.
Obviously, I've met Eric before. We did a little get together with Nick Ricada and just had some barbecue, chatted it up, had a great time. This video, honestly, and what I'm doing this for is something that I noticed in our society, kind of permeating everything, and I wanted to bring this to people's attention, and I kind of want to use my own life experience. So I kind of want to say who I am first to begin with, and then we'll get into what this subject's about. So my name's Daniel. I'm just a regular dude, to be honest with you. I joined the military in 98 or 99. Um, Spent about 7 years in, did Iraqi freedom, all that stuff. Almost over 20 years in aviation.
Thank you
working
for
on
your
aircraft.
service.
Oh, no.
Yeah, thank you.
Military did more for me than I ever did for them. But
Still,
the thing I learned in that with the military and the way we worked with everything was it's a difference between what we're seeing in society right now with these academics. I pretty much classify people into two sides, academics and builders. Okay. I'm a builder. These guys are builders. They make things, whether it's burgers, fries, YouTube videos, aircraft, spaceships. It doesn't matter. You're a builder. And then you have the academics that they work in a lab. They build things in this isolated vacuum environment. And it's really frustrating because I feel like in today's society we do a thing that I call well, everybody knows what it's called. It's appeals to authority, right? And people use that authority real effective. And I see it in society, and it just drives me up a wall because I don't understand um, how they make the arguments they make, and it just doesn't jive with me. So I kind of picked up on something that this guy here, Professor
Professor Dave.
Dave. Now I don't know the stream earlier. Before we get into this, let me back up a little bit. So before we get into that, obviously the guests earlier they introduced themselves. I think one of the things I need to lay the groundwork for this discussion is that this isn't about Professor Dave. This is just a jumping off point that I found, and I think that it's really important that we pay attention to this and we go forward. When we go forward, we look at what people are doing when they're giving us our information. So anyway, let's get started. I'm just going to go right into. We're going to react to this dude. I just want to get right to where this dude pissed me off.
Can you hear it, Greg?
I cannot. If you do the share screen, Dan,
Yeah.
if you click it again, there should be an option of like what you're showing, and it should say share system audio.
All right. Share. Where is it at? You said?
If you click share
the video I'm sharing.
Yeah, if you hit share screen and then it goes to the thing where it says choose what to share in the lower left, it should say share system audio. Make sure that's checked.
Okay.
And then that should share it with us.
I don't see share system audio.
Let's see.
Do you want me to share it?
Yeah, that would be great, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let me go find this sweet guy. Actually, here, let me find this
Yeah, he's a
What's his
shoo-in to
name?
play
Professor
Dave?
Dave. Yeah.
Very.
He's
He's
a
a
big
shoe-in
guy.
to play Escobar and Medellin. If they ever do up
Professor-
a real grandiose
Professor
picture
Dave
on that.
explains.
You'll see the Matt Walsh cancel this. That's
Okay.
the way
Let me. I got it here. Let's.
I'm new at this, guys. Y'all gonna have to forgive me. I build airplanes. Like
That's
this,
all right, dude.
this is not my thing. It's a learning thing.
Want a fig?
All right. Let me do this. Okay. It's not. It says I'm sharing it, but it's not.
You probably have to grant permission.
Yeah. You're probably gonna have to switch to the thing.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey.
Everyone, so a lot of
Right.
people watched the video I put out on Monday on trans people. A bit of a departure from my typical content, but I thought it would be a fun experiment to critique both.
Oh, did you want to watch the full thing or that area
No,
he
I
I
was
was a
at?
little
This
worried
is
Oh, wait,
about
where
being
we're at.
attacked
We're
by the
good.
woke
Okay.
mob
Go
based
for it.
on what I said about comedians and sports, and I did get a bit of that with varying degrees of legitimacy. But it was nothing compared to the avalanche of whiny incels sent over by Matt Walsh himself. They all had lots to say about how I'm a groomer and how Matt totally destroyed me. Of course, this is because Matt couldn't help but attempt to respond to my video, and what's this? He canceled me? Oh no, don't cancel me, Matt. What'll I do? Wait, what? Oh, nobody cares. So, what was this masterful analysis that so totally destroyed me, bro?
Wow.
Let's go through it top to bottom.
Let's go through this together.
Everybody seems to be furious about trans people. Half of us are furious that they exist, and the other half are furious about what the other half is saying. I would like to jump in and see if I can clear up some of the ways that people are talking past each other. Now, it's no secret that I'm a bit on the liberal side, but rest assured, the left is not going to get away scot-free on this one. They're missing the mark on a few key points. But as tends to be the case, it's bigots
a
on the
problem.
right who are the main problem, so let's start there.
Yeah.
We're off to a rough start. Putting aside Dave's smug, know-it-all tone and demeanor, something that seems to be a matter of instinct for people like him, so I'm not going to hold it against him.
Smug, know-it-all tone, Matt?
Well-
Pot, meet kettle.
The
You
real problem
too.
is that in the very first sentence, he's already wildly and intentionally mischaracterizing his opponents. In 30 seconds, he gives us a straw man and an ad hominem.
A straw man and an ad hominem, look out. The two favorite phrases of every internet narcissist incapable of actual discussion. No, Matt, what I said is neither of those things. It's called hyperbole. I know that's a big word for you. Here's the definition. An exaggerated statement or claim that is not meant to be taken
This.
literally. You're acting like I literally meant that 4 billion people are mad that trans people exist, and the other 4 billion people are mad at the first 4 billion people.
Guarantee you
Really?
were.
Not much of a scholar
Backpedaling.
of language, I take it.
Hold on,
It's
you'll
just
see.
a fun way of saying a bunch of people and a bunch of people.
Which signals that he doesn't have much to offer beyond this point. Because if he actually planned on making a compelling argument, he wouldn't come out of the gate breezily
Yeah, it's like if
dismissing
words
millions of
matter,
people as bigots.
then
Sorry, not millions. Billions.
Don't make a joke. Be
Sorry,
specific.
which billions are we talking about? You're now blending the two halves statement and the bigot statement for some reason. I said it's bigots on the right who are the main problem. That's true. There are bigots on the right.
Nope.
They are
Hold on.
problematic.
Did you want me to? Did you want to pause or go through
Yes,
the whole
just
thing?
go a little bit more.
Okay.
That is not
This is where I
equivalent
need
to
to
saying
stop.
everyone on the right is a bigot. As is evidenced by the large numbers of conservatives who thanked me for my video, saying that they learned a lot, despite your minions mindlessly repeating your straw man. We're off to a really bad start here, Matt. You've demonstrated
Okay,
immediately that
you
you
can stop
cannot
there.
understand simple.
So, I guess where I want to go with this part right here is that that's honestly all I need from him. This isn't a bash on Professor Dave. That's not a thing. What this is pointing out something that I noticed. That little issue he had there. You're just a bigot, right? Like you're just a bigot. just my personal experience that I've dealt with.
Mhm.
People like this, they have this need for everything to go exactly how it's supposed to be. Like they're in a lab.
Mhm.
They've spent their whole lives feeding books into their brains. I get it. You know, I spent my life upside down in a rudder well of aircraft. That's why I'm sitting behind this desk now, is because my back's out. I can't do anything. So he has his experience, I have mine. We can agree on that, right?
Mhm.
What I don't understand is, how does he just say it's a bigot? Now, I made a comment. This is where I stopped the video on his, and I was just like, you know, this is really frustrating. I'm angry. I'm just kind of fuming in my head, and what I want to say is that I don't understand your premise. Gender identity is just identity somebody else has, right?
Mhm.
I don't even want to touch the issue because it's not really about the issue. What this is about is honestly the fact that he's demonizing. So I went ahead and did this guy here. I sent him this on his comment, or hold on, where's it at? All right. So I sent him this. This is my other account, Chat Murphy, by the way, just so you
Mhm.
guys know. But
Oh
and
no.
yeah, it's kind of a
I
played
see,
out joke.
I see that beard in that profile.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't hide that from me.
This is my, my consumption account, right? So I put in there, why do I have to accept someone else's gender identity? If it's because that means I'm not a nice person, then that's fine by me. I don't identify as a nice person. I really don't. I'm an asshole. What I don't appreciate is an idiot, because at this point I consider him an idiot if he's just going to say I'm a bigot for not accepting someone else's identity, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's my frustration in this. Maybe I'm making a big deal about it, but I'm a little mad about this, right? And just call me what I am, and that's an asshole. I'm okay with that. I've been that my whole life. Like, that's fine, but that isn't going to work, right? What does he do? Here's his response to me. Wait, no, my bad. This is something else. Hold on.
Oh.
Here's his response to me right here. You don't have to. You can deny it and be a bigot if you want. Free country. That's his response to my comment.
Such a dismissive way of just redoubling down on calling you a bigot.
So I watched the video before this one, and I immediately disowned everything he said because of exactly what you're upset about, Dan. Is the minute you throw in bigot as part of your counterpoint or your talking point, to me it's starting to mean nothing anymore,
Well,
because it's been so extremed that even saying the word bigot to me literally means nothing anymore. It's the same way as they throw around the word Nazi and all this stuff. It's
that's what pissed me off so much about it, though, because I'm obviously not white, right? Um, I've seen real bigotry, and to water down that word like that, because I think in some instances bigotry should be illegal, because we can do this, right? Let's get off of this guy here. Let's see. I don't know. Let's go to Merriam-Webster, right?
yes.
See what they say bigotry is. I don't know. Bigot.
I wonder what side it's going to be associated with.
Because, well, it doesn't really matter, honestly, because he's the one throwing out the definitions, right? You saw it in the video.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to throw the definitions. He wants to play the word games, too. Like, that's the most annoying thing about this, is if you're going to start throwing out definitions, you're throwing out that stuff, then you better be accurate on your definition, okay? So this is a person who ostensibly or intolerantly devoted to his or her own opinions and prejudices. Intolerantly devoted. Explain to me how I'm not tolerant of some information that I was given.
Mhm.
Because all I heard is you're just a bigot, right?
Yep.
Right?
Especially when you use rhetoric like 50% of the people in the world are this way and 50% are that way. It's like, even if he says, "Oh yeah, I'm just doing a generalized number. I just mean a lot of people." No, if words actually mean something and he's throwing around, like you said, rhetoric like this, bigot, then therein he's already devoted to an intolerant way of thinking, because he just now drew a very firm line with the entire population of our earth minus the trans people that 50% and 50% are supposed to be either for or against. You don't then get to come back and go, okay, we all know I'm just playing around here. No, because if words do mean something and you're going to use a word like bigot, then you have to know that your speech needs to be exact, especially if you're going to call yourself a professor and then go to the time to make a video with all these superimposed images talking about left issues and right issues, and then somewhere in this murky middle. It's like the backpedaling there has only served to further insult people that you already marginalized by your initial video that you did.
Well, it's what they do. It's what they do all the time. Really, it's they've made it to this extreme. Whoops, that he's purposely made it to where exactly what he said. Like, I can't believe people really took me seriously for that. It's because you purposely left it that ambiguous that if someone called you out on it, you can then backpedal and say, "I can't believe you took me seriously." But then again,
When I pointed it out, though, because I wish he would have just done that. If he would have just said, which is what I expected. And if you go and look at that screen share I did earlier with my what you call it, my
comments.
pictures. Yeah, the comments.
The comments.
When you go to that, in here, it's really frustrating because he could have just. You see here, I got a bunch of chats going on in there.
Oh,
See right here at this point, 16. I'm talking to other people in there, and I'm being respectful of them, right? I deleted all of these comments in this video because, like I said in one of my tweets, this isn't a response you could just do in a comment section of YouTube. This is just a long drawn discussion about this kind of what I feel is pervasive in our society. Like I said, this is a bigger issue. This isn't just Professor Dave. I deal with this with people in my personal life.
Sure.
And I wanted to bring this to point two. Look at this. I thought this was a really pointed question, and the guy wasn't even being upset about it at all, right? I hope that this question doesn't come across the wrong way. I'm just genuinely curious. If gender identity is determined by neurochemistry and is indeed biological trait, wouldn't it be the case that gender identity could only be accurately determined by neurological tests as opposed to how the person feels?
Or how they're observed by somebody else.
Well, that's a good point, right? So
very good point.
He's calling us a bigot. And what's his evidence? What's his response to that guy? But in the absence of such tests, we listen to people describe their feelings. Maybe such tests will exist one day. Who knows?
That's such a non-answer. That's akin to when Stephen Hawking has to tell this entire lecture hall who had asked him, "Hey, is fate deterministic? Are we determined?" He said, "Yes." As is after an hour of him, or I shouldn't say an hour, but after a while of him concocting his answer, he says, "Yes, our lives are deterministic, but because we don't know what that determination is, we may as well not be." It's such a non-answer. It's like, okay, you just told us that it's a biological issue, but when that person brings up the point of, okay, well, if it's a biological issue down to the neurons, down to a neurological function inside of our body, then it seems like a person wouldn't even be able to tell you what they are gender-wise unless they went and sat down and had themselves right up to a machine. But it also completely denies the sexual organs that we have between our legs, and then what you might observe somebody as how they're presented.
Well, and I look at it this way too. What he's doing here is, in my opinion, and obviously I'm just a dude, but what he's doing is he's causing some major cultural issues, and he's treating this as if it's an illness like a broken leg, when that's not what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
What fired me up over that video so much and made me want to do this live stream, no matter the boomer moments and all that. Like, sorry guys, I'm an idiot. But
Nonsense.
what
Oh,
really made
put
me
it on. You look fucking scary.
what really made me mad about that was I got my own personal experiences. Okay. And this is a cultural issue. We're not in a lab dealing with a broken leg where whatever treatment we give these people, that's all we're going to get. You know, I'm going to tell this story to kind of justify why I think I should be having a say on this. Obviously, we know where he's getting his say, and that's feelings.
Yep.
Right. So then I get to bring my feelings in. Right. And he doesn't have an expertise in feelings. Like, we all deal with them on the same amount of time frame through life. Right. So currently I am hurt. I quit my job in 2020, summer of 2020.
Oh, wow.
I was working at Lockheed Martin building F-35. I decided to quit because of a few reasons. The COVID issue, a ton of stuff, but the main one was this touches this issue. So the year prior to COVID coming out, 2019, my son, I just got a phone call from work one day, or at work. We had an incident at school. Okay. Now I was working, I don't know, 70 hours a week. I ain't got time for that
Flat out.
craziness. So I go home, ask him, hey, what happened? He don't want to talk to me about it. I asked my wife, he don't want to talk to her about it. We asked the school, we can't talk about it. So no one wants to talk about it, right? About a week later, my wife finds out I think like it was a week later, she finds out from a Facebook mom group in our neighborhood that a trans child killed themselves in the bathroom.
Oh.
Here I find out months later that my son actually saw the whole thing.
Saw the person kill themselves?
Yes.
Or just, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. And my wife went to the school, said, hey, what is this?
Geez.
No, we checked the cameras. It's impossible. It's impossible. He could never have seen it. You know, it's impossible. Now, here I have his 14-year-old son. He's 16 now, and he's got these questions because I asked him, so did you do what society's been telling you to do, which is treat them like they're trans? Yeah, it was a boy that wanted to be a girl, and they dressed like a girl, changed their name, and we treated them like a girl, and they got to go to the bathroom like a girl and all that kind of stuff. And one day, no one was bullying this child, supposedly. The parents never made the claim that they were being bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever came out from the school that it was being bullied. The school never, to this day, doesn't acknowledge what happened. But they just, I don't know. It's just really frustrating because that's a real world instance of me dealing with this trans issue. I got a kid I got to explain this to who's still developing in his own mind. How does that make sense as a society? And, you know, the difference between these intellectuals and us, people that are making things, is massive, because when you make something, you got to make it happen. You know, there's no excuses for some things that you do. And you can't be babying people. Feelings don't work. I'm sorry. There's some certain situations where feelings don't work. And in that situation with my son, feelings ain't working. I'm sorry. But I need to be able to explain something to him. And all you got to do is tell me that I'm a bigot. That's what pissed me off about you, Professor Dave. That's what really pissed me off. Because when I got to go answer to my son, and he looks this kind of stuff up, he's going to see your video.
Yep.
Calling me a bigot. Because I won't accept something that I grew up as an English-speaking person understanding. That's a man, that's a woman. Now you're going to tell me to throw away my whole life, throw away everything I know? It's ridiculous. I can't. I don't know. Am I off base on this or?
No, not at all. Because like you said, it's an argument from him. As much as he's pretending to be this intellectual and this know-it-all about the situation, and maybe he actually is a professor. Maybe he does have these credentials which show that he's studied in whatever number of things that he studied in, but it doesn't mean that he can't have educated himself into imbecility or have been educated into imbecility, which is more than likely the case here. And in so doing, when you reach a point of this pseudo-intellectualism that is predicated upon party lines versus what is actually going to be good for the whole of society in loving somebody well, not just pretending to care about them, you oftentimes will find yourself doing things solely based out of emotion, like you were just getting at. And while emotions are real, while they're definitely real, there is this complexity that takes over us where though what we're feeling is real in the moment, it's often not the truth. And so you have to then filter those emotions through actual cold, hard facts and use the processing center of your brain to weigh out, okay, what is the cost of this emotion and me acting on this in X, Y, or Z way. You don't just get to make the emotional case for or against trans activism and taking care of these trans kids, but then play to the emotions of that very, very small minority who's maybe watching the trans community, who's maybe watching, trying to hopefully, be bolstered in their own self-esteem. You don't get to then pander to them by pretending that your emotional argument is actually a factual argument by labeling everybody else a bigot, because that's exactly what he did. He took an emotionally based argument and then he tried to throw a bunch of numbers at us and a bunch of pseudo facts at us to then try and make his roundabout way of saying, yep, and if anybody doesn't see these numbers for what they are and accept this data as I've presented it to you, then they are therefore a bigot. And so, oh yeah, sure, you can go ahead and deny it all you want, but the numbers don't lie. Spreadsheet doesn't lie. It makes you inherently a bigot. And as you already said, it's solely an argument built and derived from emotion.
I really want to touch on this main thing to me, and that is this idea that he's going with. And I really hope that people can, in having these discussions, I can get down to the essence of what this is, because that's what this channel is about. Is I want to get down. It's exasperated expressions. I've been thinking this through for a long time, and I really want to whittle down the thing that's causing this and the difference between intellectuals and doers. And I kind of want to give some stories about how I get this in my brain, this idea that I just can't handle somebody saying things like, oh, hello fellow bigot, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was giggling at that one.
But so one of my first times real young in the military, being in charge of some guys and dealing with people's inner feelings. I had this guy, he used to get really upset all the time, and he would come and just kick things and just be out of control whenever he was emotional about something. And I never really said a word about it. And then one day he was emotional, and I'm going to share this picture of, let's see here. Actually, this is this aircraft I was standing under. Okay. This landing gear wasn't there. This is this exact same aircraft. Okay. It was up on jacks, no landing gear. I was inspecting these areas right here and right here with no landing gear. And this guy, real emotional, went up to the front of the aircraft and connected a tow tractor to it. The whole aircraft tipped back on two legs of the jack, and I'm standing under there freaking the hell out. And that day, honestly, was probably the last time I stopped caring about emotions so much, because I saw him pouting around in the hangar, acting a fool, and I should have said it. I knew we were in a dangerous situation. I knew he's out of control, but I let him play with his stupid emotions, and I could have died. This is the difference between a maker and an intellect. When an intellect plays with emotions, he's in a freaking lab, and he ain't got an answer for nothing that goes wrong. Okay? Now, I was down there with two other dudes that worked for me. I would have ended up dead with two of my freaking guys, and that's what we would have sent home, a bunch of body bags. Man. And this is what y'all want to do with emotions. This is why you can't focus on emotions, and this is why I should have a say in this, is because my experience with feelings is completely different than you guys's. And you're not picking that up. You get to have your little emotional issues and things in your workplace, and it doesn't really affect anything because no one's going to die, But in my world, people are gonna die, like quick. And I don't know if y'all ever seen like the NTSB or the FAA. You ever see those videos where they recreate crash scenes or whatever of aircraft?
Oh, I've seen
not
some.
those. Not
I'm
that
sure y'all
specific.
seen.
Yes, I've seen what you're
You've probably
talking about.
seen like pictures or something where they'll piece together every single little piece of that airplane to figure out how it went down.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something: the paperwork that backs that airplane up is just as thorough.
Mhm.
And you will go to jail. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, there's not going to be any of this. Well, I felt bad that day.
Yeah.
So give me no. You're gonna be turning big rocks into little rocks with Bubba over in Fort Leavenworth. All right, that's just how it goes.
Well, definitely, Dan. I can relate to the not letting your emotions get into way. Maybe it's not that extreme, but as a kid, I was diagnosed with ADHD and depression, and as a kid, I was very emotional to where, mostly with my anger, to where I would just explode like a freak, and that, you know, I got my brain scanned, and it's like, yeah, there's a chemical imbalance to where you, compared to what other brain scans of what, for all intents and purposes, is what normal people feel like, yours is not like that. So you're more prone to do this. But I was raised to not let your emotions get the better of you, because it's just common sense. If you let your emotions get to the better of you, you're going to be paying for the consequences. Exactly like what you were just talking about, Dan, is that it can lead up to potentially someone being killed. And it's, for me, it's getting insane about this whole issue happening, because, I mean, even now they're starting to try to say pedophilia is cool. Like, there are people who are emotionally attracted to. No, like, that is not acceptable whatsoever. And kind of going back to what Professor Dave has said, to me, I personally think it's all intentional. They purposely leave it that broad so that they can weasel out and backpedal out of stuff when they get caught. But yet they say the extreme things, project that onto the other person, saying you're the extreme person, and then
about the definition of bigotry.
exactly.
What did it say?
It is.
And
Yeah.
who's the one? Who's the guy here that is intolerantly devoted to his opinion based off of feelings? Okay. He's so devoted that he's willing to go out there and tell the whole world I'm a bigot just based off of me not accepting something he can't even prove.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that he already made the distinction of, oh, it's 50%, and this side is clearly on the Democratic side, this side is clearly on the Republican side, and it said, yeah, all the bigots on the right. Okay, well, you just literally rattled off 50% of the entire population, and then you labeled them as such.
I would think that's how you pronounce his name, Fang Newton.
Fig.
Fig.
Okay, Fig. Like I said, I build airplanes. I don't read. This entire country is based off emotions, right? I don't think that. Like, I really don't. I don't, because I've had to lead men. Like, I've had to build things. I know what I had to do. I wanted to share this because, honestly, this is probably my most proud moment of something I've ever built, ever. Is the most awesome thing I ever built.
I see it.
And when I got to do this, I got to meet the King and the Prince of Jordan to deliver these aircraft.
That's really cool.
And I was here from beginning to end for this. It doesn't really, music doesn't matter. So let's see.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
This is.
and to one thing too. I'm sorry that happened with your son.
Yeah,
but even with the, I watched the What Is a Woman document with Matt Walsh and stuff like that, and one of the things of, if you're kind of like, to me it makes sense if you're talking about how like the school never talked about it. It's exactly what one of the people he was talking about too. That whenever they find situations and studies that prove that the transitioning doesn't really help and they commit suicide, they want to suppress that and hide that from them, and stuff like that. And and for me, like, going further than that, I think it's like I think it's more than just that. I think it's like the elitists and like some demonic shit happening too. Like everything's going crazy.
Well, here's the
That's
thing.
me though.
I can see that side of it, but at the same time, I'm on the other side, and I know I'm not in some big group. Like the friends I do have, if we have a barbecue, we could barely agree on the food we gonna have. So
Right.
I'm not gonna sit up there and prescribe to this theory of there's this big cabal over on the other side.
Oh,
I think that they're linked in a way in a mentality. And that's what I'm trying to touch on here is this inability of understanding how things are to be built. When you have to make it work, like you need real results, not play numbers, like not your LeBron James
Yeah.
weird statistics. You
This
know how they
isn't
come up with
theoretical
those.
physics. This isn't us having to invent
Yeah.
27 different universes to make
Mhm.
particle physics work in a realm that is not our universe.
Yeah, and it's insulting to me because I sit back a lot of times and I watch videos and I watch these guys that are real smart, you know, and they're intellectuals and they put their opinions out there. And what I guess inspired me to make the video is the fact that he just said feelings, and I was like, so you're not even qualified in your talking, so I could be unqualified too and talk. But the difference is that I've had to make things happen. Like I've had to put it together. What have you had to put together besides opinions? Like, show me the physical product you delivered to somebody.
Oh yeah, and that was the danger
And
even inside
consistently.
Marx. You know, you
Well-
put out an ideology that gets so ingrained into people, and all you then have to do is sit back and watch them kill each other.
Well, the thing is they need me. Regardless of what they say, they need me. If I don't build your airplanes, I'm telling you, you're gonna be upset. Me and everybody like me. And let me tell you something. In them hangars where we were building them F-35, you didn't see a single Democrat anything anywhere. People had these bikes. The plant there is like I think like a mile and a half long.
Oh wow.
Plant that I worked on, and it's just aircraft after aircraft after aircraft. And people had these little tricycles they rode around, put toolboxes on them, and you'd see Trump on a scooter on one of them, and you know MAGA this on another one. It was everywhere throughout the whole plant, and so you're not gonna find these people that you're seeing pushing on you all the time. Here's another thing. My brother's one of them. He's in mainstream media. I talked to you about this before, Eric.
Yep.
I actually invited him on here. He won't come because he's a little punk, you know. I told him you're gonna have to make yourself public though. You're not gonna sit up there and talk little stuff behind the avatar. Like we're not doing that. All right.
Yep.
So yeah, but I wanted to show this because honestly, this is like my most proud thing that I ever
Let's see
built.
this.
yeah.
Give you
Let's
a
see
little
it.
rundown on it. So this is a light gunship. Just so you know, there's only 2 countries in the world that have gunships: the U.S.
Ooh.
and Jordan. This is the Jordan ones that we built. We were told by Airbus, which was the company that made the platform we built it on.
Mhm.
We were told by them it was impossible. We were told by Lockheed Martin. We were told by a lot of people it was impossible. And me, a crew of a few guys, man, we put this thing together. And y'all can say what you want, but I'm proud of it.
Is this the Yamato of the sky?
Well, sound really doesn't matter, guys. So
That's all right. HKC 235 light gunship.
yeah.
Was that a 23 millimeter?
I worked with that guy, Brad. I was there for that. There's my badge.
Oh wow.
Dang.
These pylons, I built those.
Dang.
Can y'all hear that? Any?
Yeah. No, we can't hear it.
Okay.
That is one sturdy beast, though.
Yeah, maybe just yeah. Again, Dan, when you click share
Yeah.
and then you say share screen, it should be in the lower left corner if you want to share system audio.
You said these 2 went over to Jordan?
Yes, I built these cabinets by hand.
Wow.
I built that door right there by hand.
That's amazing.
Tis
He's
beautiful.
just talking about like these systems and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some.
You know what's interesting? Your point is so well taken. And how you mentioned working inside the hangar setup there and working on these aircraft and not seeing anybody of that other political side there represented. But yet this stuff still has to get put together. And those who end up using this are of every single political persuasion that's out there, the entire gamut. It's like when we were all little boys and little girls, most little boys, if you said, "Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?" It was, "Oh, I want to be a fireman or a policeman or an astronaut." Okay, well, let's take those to the logical outworkings at their final destination. Well, if we were all astronauts, then
You could talk over this. Go ahead.
yeah, if we're all astronauts, then who's going to make the fuel to take those astronauts to space? Okay, and if we're all fuel producers, then who's going to make the machines that pump that fuel out? Okay, and if we're all those guys who make those machines, who's going to make the burgers that feed those people who are doing these jobs? And being that every single person inside that chain there is so essential for what happens next, and then you have to lean so heavily on the people that are making airplanes like this, or making buses, or making subway stations. The fact that you have to lean so hard on those people, but then have the gall to be absolutely dismissive of them, as flat out as a human being, that's pretty sadistic of Dave to do, because it negates, as you already said, it negates them and their story as though it's meaningless.
Well, they're trying to spin it now to where they'll go, "That's a real good job putting in all that stuff you did there, Dan. I want a piece of that pie." When they didn't do anything, that's what they're trying to do. Is that they're trying to make everything. Well, we got to make everything equal and everything this, and it's like
That's the frustrating part, is that it's not equal. Like, these people don't live in the real world. I lived in the real world when we had engineers that would design all this stuff. You know, they would design all this stuff, and none of it worked. Just be honest with you. We were out there. We were out there having to piece this stuff together.
Yep, fit it in.
And they put all these formulas out there, and they say, "Oh, it's gonna work," but it never works.
that reminds me of a boss I used to have. He would talk about his engineering degree. It's like, but it makes sense when I put it all in. It's like, well, yeah, but there's some touch, like there's like a special touch to it that only people can do, because sometimes it cannot. If that door was slightly not that right curvature, it could not, it could not close or something like that.
No. Let me tell you a story about that door. So the engineers brought out this really expensive company, came out with all these cameras, and it looked like a Hollywood studio where he put little tags on everything.
Oh,
and
sure.
Scanned the airplane, right? The only problem was that airplane ended up not being the one we did the first door on. It was the second aircraft. And I went to go build it, and none of their drawings worked. Like, we're sitting there with these parts, and we're just like, no. So they just got us a pallet of just flat sheet metal, and we just grabbed handbrakes and literally piece by piece by piece. And some of the funniest things would happen during that. We were drilling holes into that door, and I was outside of it helping, and the painter was right next to me. And he's like, "Ow, bees." I was like, "What bees? What bees?" And I look, and there's no bees. There's a drill bit coming out of the airplane, hitting him in the leg, drilling right into his leg. Oh no! We ain't got no time. Like,
I have a question. Is there a specific reason why those were painted those colors?
What do you mean, the dark gray, or
like the dark gray and stuff like that? Well, I mean, like, does the color like play a role in like for a specific? Just the customer. Okay.
They'll have criteria for like what type of weather they plan on flying in, or what type of environment. If you're over the ocean, like that other aircraft I shown you, you see it's
that blue,
color.
like a bluish.
No,
Mitch,
it's like
Mitch asked a good question here. He asked, "Is that a modified Spectre gunship?"
No, it's not. It's actually a Casa 235. It's a this is the ocean kind of paint scheme. So this goes out to sea in sub hunts. So you see, you got this like kind of lighter,
I saw those barrels sticking out, and I've been still on the kill dozer.
Hey, hold on, I got something to show you. You want to see what came out of that gun?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Show that. Yeah.
And this was a shot round. Look at that. I dug this out of the ground.
Oh, wow.
Here's another one.
Oh my
That's a-
You
gosh.
just see
That
the
is
spiraling.
amazing. Yeah.
That was from
Oh,
10,000 feet, and it hit the ground and spiraled right into the ground.
Okay,
wow.
so now that's like a giant bullet, right? It's not an explosive round.
No, those do come in explosives. So that was a target. That was a
Oh, a
target round.
target. Okay.
Yeah, that we used for
Wow.
out
Even
in the
if that was
desert.
just a bullet and that hit somebody, your
Oh, yeah,
entire
yeah.
top horse would just liquefy.
No, the round that they normally shoot, especially anti-personnel, which would be HE, high explosive, they're about a hand grenade.
Holy crap!
And if you go, you can see this was
Man.
those rounds actually came from this. Real quick, this shoot. Oh wait, no, that's not what I wanted.
How far down did you have to dig to get that out?
Not that. It was maybe a foot or two, but it was out in the desert, so it was like really nasty,
Oh,
or
sure.
really dry and
Real
easy
compact.
to get through. And yeah, but this was where those rounds were dug out from. Yeah, it was about 10,000 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know,
love
when
it.
when you get handed things that are different,
hmm
and you're told to make it work, and you don't have the luxury of this, you know, oh well, it's somebody's feelings, and you don't have to like. There's war fighters going to be dependent on these aircraft, and I'm not going to be the one to be sending them home. You know, that ain't right. And that's the kind of decisions I have to make. And that's the way I had to live my life for 20 plus years working in aircraft. So you can't sit there. That's probably the thing that teased me off the most, is that I have to live in a world where feelings don't matter. I don't get that luxury.
Yep.
If I do, people start dying. So why the hell do I have to live in other people's world where they get to have that luxury? How's that right? You want to play fair? Let's play fair. Let me just act a fool when you depending on that damn airplane when you go on your next trip. How about that?
Right? Yeah, it's like how about
Let me
I
get my
just don't
fucking
install
feelings.
all the rivets that need to be there to hold the landing gear in place, and you guys can
Oh,
just skid to a stop on the belly.
I've seen some of the most horrendous things in aviation you would not believe. I've seen brand new aircraft come from Cessna where you go inside and look, and there's whole rows of rivets that weren't even finished shot. And these are
Good.
pressurized aircraft that blow the rivet right out. The paint was the only thing holding that rivet in that airplane.
Oh my gosh.
Brand spanking new airplane. It's
Wow.
insane the things I've seen, and these people don't understand the amount of effort that we go through every day to catch this kind of stuff
Yeah.
before people die. And
Yeah.
it's insanity because we're just getting these people in the industry left and right. They're just coming out constantly just with their feelings, and it's like, y'all gonna kill somebody. That's part of the reason why I quit. The thing with my son, the issue with my job, the same things going on at Lockheed Martin, you know, the HR people, you know, I guess I want chat to kind of think and everybody to kind of think about it like this. You know, you see these people at your job. Who are they? You know, are they the ones that come talk to you? Right. That's the problem.
Yep. It's amazing how, for the sake of emotion and for the sake of coddling those who are weak, you see whole policies get changed and put into effect that hinder and stall and stop the forward progress of us as a whole. It's like when you think about breaking a finger, what happens after you break that finger? It is splinted to the stronger finger so it can strengthen itself back up and stay straight. You don't just let it hang there broken. You can't let, so to say, you can't let the weak set the pace. And that's what so much of this emotional crap comes down to. It's like, okay, you guys are going to go inside, or say you're building M1A1 Abram tanks, and you have to make sure that these treads are tightened just to a certain amount of torque. Otherwise they could snap off and kill somebody. And you get somebody inside there, like the guy you were mentioning, who hooked up that jack to the front of the plane and almost sent it down on you and your two guys. It's like, what happens when somebody is so emotional, they're pissed off for whatever reason, or they're in one of those little I just can't today states, and they over torque these things, and one of those caterpillars comes off and decapitates 4 of your fellow coworkers. It's like, what happens in that case? Oh, do we have HR come back around going, okay, so now we have to respect him and his feelings because he was having a lived experience right there, and sorry that 4 of you died, but we can't deny his experience. No, get that guy the hell out of here, because the rest of us have to work and hopefully go home to our families.
Well, it's one of those things that I never I understand, but to me, it's like you guys are wasting your breath talking to specific people, and I'm not saying like talking to these people. I'm saying these people like coming up to us, because it's like we're not going to change our minds
No, no, no,
because
no.
We
we've
don't
seen.
have time to.
This
We
isn't
don't have
about
time.
changing their minds, because honestly, what I'm trying to do now is just pick this out and point it out when I see it, because that's the only thing I can do. It's I think it needs to be known that what academics are doing to our society is affecting society. They could ignore it all they want, but it's happening.
Mhm.
And it's just frustrating. And I just feel like the way I've had to grow up through life and look at things, it makes me see these things real easy, you know, and it's really frustrating. I guess, like I said, that's why I wanted to make a channel, because I get exasperated all the time. I'm constantly like watching streams and I'm just like, I hate you all. Like, stop, every one of you, shut up, because you got to go build something first.
Well, for like it. It's exactly what these videos say too. They're like, you have this, if we're going to go off of Professor Dave's examples where he said like, 10% of people are gay, and then in that is like the 1% that are trans and stuff and blah 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 blah. And it's like, it's not that we're ignoring that, but that's just how it is. Like, why does everything need to change for like the 10%? But that yet these are the people that are going, well, that 1% that are really rich, they need to be punished.
Where did he get that number from?
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying.
He even said they can't measure it. So where did he get that number?
Yeah, exactly.
You got that number from John Money's studies that he did, questioning pedophiles and rapists that were incarcerated,
but
and then pretended like it was from a bigger sample.
But the problem is you can't definitively measure it.
Because he lied about the entirety of that information and those numbers when they came out. So you just have people that are leaning on this already broken crutch with their feet firmly planted in midair.
Even if they can come up with all the numbers, if you can't show me a nice little kind of test I could take over at the Walgreens, I could just, with my finger, gay or not gay or trans or whatever, until you could do that, I don't want to sit there and you make these statements like definitive that I'm a bigot now. That is unacceptable. That's an untenable situation we're in, because where do I go from there? I have one choice: accept something that I can't even prove. I'm sorry, Professor Dave, but you sound like a flat earther, man.
Well,
say what you want, but
it's like for me, it's like it's just gonna keep going, because then it's like, okay, let the schizos believe that they're being talked to and all that stuff, because that's just how they feel. The same thing with the pedophilia. Well, that's just their thing, and we should respect their chemical imbalance. And it's like, so are we going to get to the point
imbalance that wants me to go rob a bank?
Exactly.
Y'all are FDIC insured. It's not going to hurt anybody. Can I just go do it and just get it? And then no one's hurt, right? You got insurance.
I feel like a murderer today. Can I just go and murder someone and then like not do it anymore, and then just be like, well, I got.
They stand on this thing where they say, well, it doesn't hurt anybody else. Well, tell my kid that. Go tell him, because he's the one with the questions.
Yep.
He's the one that saw it. So you tell him that this decision that you're telling us we have to accept without any choice is the right decision and the only decision to make, and that he has to accept it no matter what.
And you know what?
Questions to be asked.
You know what makes it even that much less palatable when you deal with these armchair intellectuals like Professor Dave here and people that are kind of in the same vein, is that the anonymity that is afforded to people who choose to hide behind, like you were saying a little bit ago about your brother, hide behind the avatar, is one thing. But then the proximity to who you would launch these firebrands at, whether it be verbally via a smear campaign for whatever presidential candidate is coming up, you're launching that on public television, or you're doing it on a YouTube channel or on Twitter, the immediate proximity, being next to somebody who can reach out and punch you in the face, would keep most of us from saying probably 80% of what we do. Also, you have another block that hits you when you are having kind of a panel like we have right now, where you're having to watch people's physical reactions and have to actually engage with them face to face here, even though we're miles away from each other. You're still
Yeah.
inside the moment. So it's simply making a video to which nobody else is there to be able to hold you accountable and or fact check you. That is what's brought so much of this down. And so people live in these isolated little cell moments online. And it becomes the most real thing. How you were saying with feelings, like, yes, feelings, they're real, but they're often very untrue to us. And more people do more living online with, you know, these black mirrors in our pockets where we lock our brains away in these prisons 6 to 8 hours a day. And when you finally step outside, like my family and I, we just moved to upstate New York. We were in the Dallas area, and you go from an absolute rat race of life to suddenly an impossibly slowed down pace of life, and things just explode into perspective. Suddenly everything on the peripheral vision edges that you had is suddenly right there, and you realize how little what actually happens online will typically affect you in the day to day. However, there is still a fight to be had, and which is why I admire you, I admire Greg, I admire Mitch in the chat, and those who take it upon themselves to engage the culture war when it's necessary. Like you said, it drove you crazy that this guy was saying what he was saying, and it has to be spoken to, because as crappy as it is to recognize, on the one hand, so little of what goes on online and even inside a 24-hour news cycle actually affects us. At the same point, you have to be willing to fight where the fight is being had. And it's like, I draw this analogy. Say you're standing at McDonald's and the person in front of you is being really belligerent and very unkind to the person taking the order, and they're using all kinds of profanity. There's kids around. Well, that person may have the right, given by the First Amendment, to say all those mean things and be rude, so long as they're not physically aggressing this person. But I also have the right to look around the person and go, hey, do you mind toning it down a notch? Because there's other people here besides you. It's like they've got the right to do it and say it. I also have the right to do it and say it. And so people have to be kept in check, if only sometimes, because there are so many ignorant people out there that don't bother to do their homework, don't bother to fact check, and don't bother to do anything but listen to the talking heads and assume that what they're being fed on the daily is the God's honest truth. And somebody has to push back on that.
Yeah.
Make sure to laugh at them. That's what I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's all you can do.
Gotta.
My brother, you should see. I wish he would ever come on here. It would be hilarious. This dude is.
Work on him.
Yeah. Nah.
You get there. You get there.
But that's the thing. Like something as simply at like letting them spew all this garbage and just laughing at them, like undercuts all of what they said because they let it get to them.
You know,
and it's like
Professor Dave is the type of person that I wouldn't watch his video all the way through, but you're just a bigot. And then I had to go in the comments just to confirm what he's saying, because to me, it's not. You're not producing anything here. You're not getting us anywhere further along in this problem that we have, and we all have to agree to whatever we're gonna do. Like, that's just a fact. And people like me are out here. I don't know what you want to do. I wanted to make this mention too. You know why he uses the word bigot? Do you all know why they do this?
Why?
Because I said it. I think bigotry in some instances should be illegal, right? Except I don't think being an asshole should be illegal. So why do you think he used the word bigot? Because he don't want to make being an asshole illegal. Because he's a fucking asshole. So this is how they always play this game, right? It's like rules for me, not for thee. Constantly. Yep. And it's the same hypocrisy in everything that they do. Whenever they get into these feelings, that's the one thing I want to. I forgot. I needed to meme copium in the chat.
Oh yeah, I just read that.
Yeah, no, meme copium.
Yep, absolutely.
Is my boy.
Absolutely.
Meme copium. Hold on, I gotta do this real quick.
American.
If you're free, meme. If you're free, I had to send him a link. But yeah, He was the one I was going to originally do this with yesterday before I saw the 24-hour,
Oh yeah, the window. Yep.
you sure you want to get this gun and put this online? You sure? But yeah, I think that's the thing I really want to get to is I want to analyze these intellectuals, pick them apart, and just get to the base of the issue, because I'm not debating what these people feel. That's not the issue here.
Yeah.
The issue is you're not in a lab.
Mhm.
If I can prove to you that you're not in a lab and that you're affecting somebody else, then you have to stop and take me into account.
Mhm.
It might come back
Yeah,
later.
it's like you almost have to tell people, feel whatever it is you're going to feel. Nobody can deny that you have these feelings. Like, yes, you have any number of feelings throughout the course of a day, but what you do with those is what matters. And if what you're doing with those, because we all know that talk is cheap, and we know that whether Matt's saying it or whether Dave's saying it on those little videos they did kind of dissecting what each other had said, end of the day, the talk is cheap, but where's the physical action that we see coming from that talk? And so it's like, when you take all the rest of that away, sure, allow yourself the feelings, but if what you do with those feelings next start to jeopardize somebody else's freedoms and or their life,
Yeah.
then you must be put into check, and it must be very swift, and it has to be point making.
I was just gonna say, Nick said the same thing. It's when your things interferes with someone else's freedoms. That's when it becomes a problem too. And they're trying, and then they try to step back and say, "Well, you don't see us as." That's my big annoyance too. It's like, go ahead.
After having hundreds of hours of conversations with my leftist brother, I've come to the conclusion that the way this really works is they.
Do it, Mr. Scott.
Explain this. What's the best way? Should I start a channel called The Bigot Show? Yes, do it.
Do it.
What he does is it's hard to explain and that's what I really wanted to make these videos, or wanted to do this before, is just to try to really pinpoint exactly what he's doing when they reach for this almost a Y in the road where you have to choose, and once you make your choice you can never turn back.
It's a false dichotomy. It's saying, hey, this way leads to a pitfall full of spikes and this way leads to fire, but you've got to choose one. Well, I don't believe in that false dichotomy.
Yeah. It's the premise that they're starting with, and that's, I guess, my frustration that I want to get to with Dave. I plan on making more videos, to be honest with you, because I see this every day with politicians, with media, with lawyers, with you name it, engineers. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the same thing. I think that people that don't have to put things into a real physical world where somebody else can just take it and throw it at you until you get the hell out of here with this, until you have to do that, you can't. They are never going to be able to see our side of it. Yeah, that's the bottom line. Yeah, that's why my brother will always argue with me forever. That's why Professor Dave is the bigot in this situation, according to the definition, in my humble opinion, because he's the one that's intolerant here and devoted with no evidence whatsoever. Yeah.
It's honestly,
I got my evidence. They're called chromosomes.
Wait a minute. You're saying the people that call people bigots are actually the bigots?
Yeah, isn't that?
That makes a lot of sense.
Wow, amazing. It's kind of
the projection. That's the worst part too. That's the word. Is the projection. It's
that's what I agree with you 100%. I kind of apply like my theory about what's happening in the entertainment industry, and you can apply like it can be applied to a bunch of stuff too. Is that they are retconning a bunch of stuff to change it so that when future generations look back at the history, it's their version that they are hoping that they'll remember and they will get the credit for it. That's all they want to do. This
was the greatest part about aviation, and this is why I have the attitude I have, because like I told you guys, it was really paperwork heavy, right? So I'll give you an example with these engineers. So we would do this thing whenever the drawing doesn't work. We would do these things called red lines, where they would come out with engineer with a red pen and a ruler and everything, and he'll sit there and red line into the part that doesn't work, draw it all out, and then sign his signature. And that's the new hard copy that goes into the system. That's what everybody's working off of from now on. Nothing else ever exists, right? In this new program we had, we were having so many issues that they couldn't keep up. So one drawing after another, 3, 4, 5 red lines, and they just would not understand that I'm telling them, like, I'm not doing the work till you give me the red line. And we don't have time. So they came up with this plan. They said, okay, we're going to write in this book the directions, and then we'll fix the drawing all at once later. And I remember grabbing my phone, hitting record, and setting it down on the table. And I said, I'm going to explain to you guys how this is going to go right now. You're going to fuck this up. You're not going to do your end of the bargain, and then I'm going to fuck you up because I got paperwork and I got a recording right here.
Nice.
This is my promise to you. I swear to God. So sure enough, we were working for the Department of State on some VIP transports that were going to fly through Afghanistan. These massive flare buckets on the bottom of it. We already delivered one aircraft, right? We're working on the second one. And here comes DCMA, Defense Contract Management Agency, Department of Defense. Walking in, he's like, looks at the drawing, and he looks in the airplane, and he's like, he printed the drawing off, right, in the computer that they supposed to fix,
Yeah.
right? But they didn't. Okay, and I don't have a red piece of paper anymore, right? Because they won't give it to me. They just have this stupid notebook. So here's the government standing over me. I'm the supervisor on night shift, the only person in charge. And he's like, this doesn't match the airplane. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't. Well, what are you building? I said, we're building to this. And he's like, that drawing doesn't have a red line on it. I said, I know. So, what are you doing? You're doing illegal work on a government aircraft. I said, no, I'm not. Not at all. I got a recording. And I played it. And he was like, set up a meeting, get their asses in here right now. 2 a.m. Hey, y'all come on in.
Got someone I want you to meet.
Oh, yeah. And they came in, and I'm going to tell you, they did the hemming and the hawing. No. And they tried to pin it on me, and I pulled that thing out, and I was like, no, fuck you. I'm going to beat your ass. I swear to God. You understand what y'all just did? Y'all just delivered an aircraft that wasn't up to what the government paid for. That's what you did. And I got evidence right here. You guys did this. Now you're going to freaking fix it. And sure enough, they had to go out there and to the big boss, and we're like, oh, we're sorry. Hey, you know what? But this is the world I live in, where I'm just going to lay this out. This is just a fact. I have to sell the airplane to the government. Like, they have all the flashlights and all the mirrors and all the magnifying glasses on the face of the earth. So they will find if you make one small mistake. How does that happen when you do your work, Professor Dave? Do you have that kind of scrutiny? Like, do you have that kind of accountability?
Yep.
Do you have that kind of pressure put on you for 20 plus years?
That's
and
the
then
thing.
You want to sit up there and tell me that this world of feelings is what's important. I just have to live that life that I lived for 20 years and just forget it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
While they don't have to forget their feelings, right?
Yep.
That's how this works.
It's how it's like the same thing with the education system. Like the minute I watched that video, or at least like one of the earlier ones when the origin one before the response one, I just sat there and I just laughed because I'm just like, congratulations, you went to a school, you read a bunch of woke garbage and didn't get challenged. You just repeated what your professor said, and they said, good job, A, here's your degree, go on, sort of thing. And it's like, that's all it is. It's one giant echo chamber with no challenge whatsoever.
You know, honestly, that's what I wanted to do this for. It was just a challenge because I have my perspective and I hope people can appreciate it. I wanted to do this in a longer format because who the hell am I? I don't have a degree on a wall. You know, I got a picture of my friends over there. You know,
I got my friends right there. Boondock Saints. They're always guarding me.
I got this from like who knows how
Yeah.
long ago.
Oh wow.
You know,
Nice.
that's my experience, and it's frustrating that my experience is discounted because I don't have a degree, or I'm not in media, or I'm not trained professional or anything. When what are you using? Like what professionalism do you have there? Just bigot? Like you called me a bigot. You called person of color bigot.
You're right. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
It's
Eric and I got art degrees, and one thing we did really learn was make sure you can bullshit really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
sometimes you have to. Like that's the thing. But that was the decision that we chose to. And of course, we were like I'm actually quite curious to know how an art degree goes nowadays, cuz I know when Eric and I went to
gosh.
college, we were at least challenged cuz
Yeah.
they ripped your shit apart. Like if
yeah.
it was garbage and they knew that you did it at the night before, you got called out on it and you got your ass chewed out.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine what's happening now. And no, Fig, don't be like that.
Fig, what you doing in there?
He says, rather be a robot than live in the reality of emotions and feelings.
Figs, no.
You know, feelings got their place. They got their place. You
They
know,
do.
everybody's got them. We're all human beings, but we got to leave them at the door when we're dealing with other people. Period. Like,
Well,
we did
that was actually yeah, bullshit. We did it, guys. We did it. But
We
that's
won.
actually what I was gonna say, Dan. Too. Like, there's nothing wrong with feelings, but keep your feelings in check. And that's all you can do. Like,
I mean, I can't go over it enough. It's just it is what it is.
Truth, Mitch. Truth.
I just want to go over this more. I want to find more of these intellectuals. I want to pick them apart because these type of things, and I just want to drill down to this and just point at them and laugh over and over and over, to be honest with you, because that's, you have to see how ridiculous you are in this, Professor Dave. Like, you have to.
Yeah, and people have to be shown. Like, I mean, and, you know, like if this is any indication, I'm definitely good for a convo when one needs to happen. So I hope you tap me again in future videos.
Yeah. I hope I could get this in a lot more streamlined.
But that for sure. And that's where, you know, as much as what we're saying is like laugh and make fun of them, but like for people like us, that I'm pretty confident I can say this. When we get made fun of and we laugh at ourselves, that's where the growth begins. That's where that's where you can better yourself, because you're laughing because you're going, you're right. Yeah, I got someone pointed out a weakness of mine, and that is funny. But what can I do to then fix it? As opposed to these people, when you laugh at them, they go into the rooms and curl in the fetal position and suck their thumbs for like 3 years because they can't handle it. And it's like, this is an opportunity for you to grow. You know,
face objective reality.
it's just the weirdest things that you're getting so offended at the player sitting on the bench laughing at you because you missed your football catch, and you are like throwing your football down and stopping the whole game because it's like, stop that right now. It's like, dude, it happens. Like, everyone's done it. Like, it's okay, but But they've taken it to that extremeness to where it's like, well, you just don't see me as a human being. It's like, fuck right off, dude.
Like
go,
said,
go eat a bag of dicks.
The ability to cope. It's just, that's what it is.
Yep.
It's a cope. It's a cope.
It
It's
is.
a cope. But they got to understand, not really. I guess what I want to do is just be the guy of the worker because I got time. I'm not working 70 hours a week anymore.
Dude,
and
you have a voice, and I mean, just from even the few times that we've spoken, like you do have a lot of wisdom to share, and it comes on the back of the actual experiences that you've had. Like you said, there's a dramatic difference between the theoretical doing of something and then actually putting that into physical action. And when you can finally see those two mesh up, then you can actually have an understanding where both sides can go, oh, okay, I had to give a bit here, you had to give a bit there, we had to meet somewhere in the middle. And I think that's a valuable thing that you can offer. And it's not like we're sitting here telling Dave, oh, we hate you, you know, go fuck yourself.
No, I love
it's
Dave.
It's
Dude,
like, hey, man,
I want everybody
this is...
to go watch him, because I'm gonna tell you now, up until I saw that first few minutes of that video, I agreed with him at 100% of the time, all the time, on everything I've watched of his, period, across the board. And not Oh, well, let me take that back. I did, but I didn't. There were things I disagreed with, but I could agree to disagree. It was
Yeah,
basically like he said, "Hey, this is my opinion," and I said, "Well, I disagree with your opinion," and that's it. But
yeah,
this isn't a
like
situation.
that's so valuable. Yeah, 'cause it's like again, it's not like we're saying, "Oh, we hate this guy." It's us saying, "Hey, look, you stepped in it here, and you said some things that are incorrect here." So we're gonna hopefully help you see where that error is, and anybody else who's watching along this who sat there scratching their head at the same moments we did, going, "That's not at all right." They have a place where they can at least feel like their opinion also matters.
I hate him. No, I'm
I
just
don't.
kidding. I've never
Yeah.
seen
I
him.
mean,
I'm
he's
just
a he.
I'm just
He's
fucking around.
listen. I'm gonna tell you this much. If you want to, you ever see the flat earthers on YouTube? Remember when they were big a few years ago? You
Yes.
notice how they fell off the face of the earth, right?
Yup.
hmm
That was Professor Dave that did that. Just so you know,
Really.
he's the one that pretty much destroyed them. Yes,
Hmm.
and it is one of the most hilarious videos I've ever seen, or series of videos. I think he has like 3 or 4 where he just destroys them, and it is honestly really nice and good job. I can agree on that all day. And there's parts of it where, you know, in some of his videos where I would disagree, but it was never this. This is different. This isn't a disagreement. This is him condemning me, calling me one of the most vile things on the face of the earth because I won't accept something that he can't prove. You
Yep.
know, if you had some real proof, then maybe you could call me a bigot.
Yep.
But until you get that, I'm not I'm not a bigot. I'm sorry. You're an asshole. I'm an asshole. We could both be assholes together and have a conversation and we could actually solve this trans problem that we have. But we
Mhm.
can't do it when I'm a bigot and you're in charge.
Yep.
Very true, Fig.
Like,
100%.
like
100%.
Fig says, "Reminder: space is fake and gay."
Very true.
I worked on a space shuttle part, well, a satellite part once too.
Oh,
That's
really?
so cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, they just showed up. Hey, can y'all put that on that?
We got
Put
you.
anything on anything. Oh
Dude,
man,
now
my
that needs to
saying,
be worked into your videos too. Like some of your like the photos you have, like things you've worked on. I would continue to do that because
yeah. I
that's
mean, I got a
that's
saying I
very
always
cool.
had when I grew when I worked on aircraft was I never broke anything so bad I couldn't throw it away
Nice.
because we got put in some really hokey positions. You know, I remember one incident we had where our company volunteered me and 7 people to go retrofit 4 Korean helicopters in 3 months for flares, and I think it was an 8-month job. It was an 8-month job on paper with
Unbreaded.
15 people. Yeah, unbreaded with 15 people on the crew, and we had 7, and I think it took us 3 months, and it was nonstop insanity. I was in the back of a Black Hawk, and I'm actually a little claustrophobic. I'm in the back of this Black Hawk, like
Oh gosh.
working in a thing like that I just fit in, you know? And my buddy, I'll never forget, he's in front of me and the exit's past him, so I can't get out. There's nothing behind me but a wall. And he had this thing called a rivet squeezer, and it just squeezes a rivet or just
Mhm.
squeezes a rivet, but it's strong, it's pneumatic, and it will break a pencil, a pen, anything, right? It squeezes metal. He caught it in his thumb, and it just,
Oh, dude.
and it was like a ping pong paddle.
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
Ouch.
claustrophobic, and I'm now my stomach is queasy. I'm
Oh.
back there freaking out.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
So did it just completely like crushed everything? Like,
Yeah. It just
oh
like
my
nailed. It
gosh.
came off later, but we couldn't stop. We didn't go to medical. It was get back to work.
Oh my god. Wrap
But that's why my
some
back's
electrical
messed
tape
up now.
around it. Get back in there.
Yeah, duct tape. That'll fix it.
Well, that's how my back's messed up now. I fell off an airplane in 2002, right before Iraqi freedom started. We were out there
Man.
out in the Sea of Japan doing workups, getting ready to do Iraqi freedom. In beginning of 2003, I remember it was March 18th, 16th or 18th, 18th, day after my birthday. So
Oh man.
I remember just falling off the plane and my boss yelling at me, "You're not going to medical. Get your fucking ass back to work." We ain't got no time for that.
Wow.
I swear to God, if you go to medical, I'm kicking you out in the Navy. And you don't want other than honorable or admin SEP or nothing like that. You need an honorable discharge or else your whole life's ruined. So I just had to take it. It is what it is, but what are you going to do? And then that's the world I had to live in. That's the world I had to grow up in. That's what I had to do. And here we are with Professor Dave telling me, no, listen to the feelings. The feelings. That's what's important. Nah, Professor Dave, the feelings don't touch me. Like his trans, it's got nothing to do with me. Show me on actual piece of paper how it affects me. And I showed you how it affects me. I showed you. Now you show me how it
The
does.
cold, hard, unyielding fact.
That's all it is.
Well, that's the it's of course this lie too, because it's like you're oppressed. Okay, what are you being oppressed? I just can't be myself. Well, what do you want to be? I want to be this. Okay, cool. But when you're around me, things might be a little different. Well,
Dan should have looked for a live leak logo before he started working. What does that mean? I'm confused.
Rookie mistake. It's one says oh, but it's like it's again like sometimes I just laugh because it's like, man, you are putting all this energy to like talking to someone that you're not gonna change like my mind. So why don't you just go with like hang out with the the people that I don't know, I guess you declare that understand you or something like that or whatever. It's like I don't get it. And it's like, and it's one of those things too where it's like, I'm sorry, but okay, say for all intents and purposes 10% of whatever. Well, we're the minority. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. I mean, should we? It's like you can't just expect to
You had the
change.
spa issue where the guy goes into the woman's dressing room with his cock out. Okay, that's a thing that happened. You can sit up there and say it's a one-off all you want, but it happened, and this policy lends itself to this kind of stuff. Regardless of what you want to say, it leaves it there on the table for any pervert to do. And that's
female prisoners getting knocked up in prison because
in prison.
Because they got the trans females inside there with all the wedding tackle still intact.
But he just wants to say, all I'm saying on all of this trans issues is that I don't feel it productive to participate in the conversation with trans people. I just don't think it's productive for me to have that conversation with anybody trans or even accept it. I will accept how you present yourself to me. Okay.
Yeah. I can call you whatever name you want.
And I will call you whatever name you want. Right. But I will not confirm something that I can't confirm.
Yep. You can't voice
I could barely confirm my own feelings and what I want to say with my own feelings. So how the hell am I going to confirm your feelings?
Yeah. Well, again, they themselves can take it to the extreme by saying, well, if you can't confirm me, then you obviously hate me as hate me as a human being. But then when it's the roles reversed, I'm justified.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's like
honestly, that's the goal of everything I want to do. I really appreciate you guys coming on and putting
up. Hey, thank you for having us, man. The maiden
voyage. No problem.
Yeah. I feel pretty comfortable.
I was happy as a clam with boomering and everything included. Hey, because I went through the exact same thing with mine, and I ended up having to be on StreamYard too.
Yeah.
Even though I was.
Yeah, you were saying that while we were before the streaming.
Oh, yeah.
You were like, works. I tried this other thing, and then it just.
I did. So, Melon app, which is pretty much like an alternative to StreamYard, which I got working, and I looked into it. Like, same thing happened with you. Getting ready to do the show, my guest is like, I can't hear you. I'm like, fuck. And I literally recorded testing everything. Hear myself just fine. When it starts, can't hear myself at all. Can't hear you. Trying everything. And I think, I don't know, it might have been the same issue on your end, but the websites get really weird if you constantly try to plug in different mics. And because simply just changing it in the options to say, I want to use this microphone doesn't work. It's like you almost have to let it completely reset itself after a while. And it's like, well, I can't do that because I want to do a show. So I understand.
I'm gonna have to do a different setup of what I got here. It is this, it's
baby
do
steps
it and then learn. And
Yeah.
Hopefully I could get me some followers and, people like what I got to say. I just want to cover the news. I got ideas for some things. I honestly just want to do live streams, and I might just do them by myself. Where
You heard it, folks. Exasperated expressions. Click
yeah,
subscribe, guys.
I'm probably
Smash
gonna
that.
I'm gonna be just searching news and just going over it with my thought process. If y'all appreciate just my idiocy and my bullshit, honestly, then I'd appreciate it if y'all watch. If you don't. It's no big deal. This is just a vent place for me, to be honest with you, and hopefully I can reach some people that feel like I felt, where all you see is intellectuals left and right explaining to you things for a fact can't be right. Like, because you've had to live it. It is how Nick started. I was actually part of that Facebook group that Nick was in.
Nice. Very cool.
Dick Masterson group. And I was just a lurker, never commented, nothing.
Sure.
Yeah, I was working back then. I think I was working 84 hours a week.
Good gosh.
Yeah, I think around that time I was working.
That was my
7
Nick
days a
impression, by
week.
the way.
I was working 7 days a week, 12. Yeah, 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day.
Rude, Eric.
During
Very
that
rude. How, as he would say, very uncouth.
I've met Nick a few times too. That's obviously where I met Eric too, hanging out with Nick. And I was hoping I could get down to Anime Matsuri to help you guys out. But
Oh man, I wanted to get down there too.
Obviously, my bag.
I don't know if I met you, Dan, because I was actually with that barbecue as well at that
but
barbecue
we
place,
didn't
but we
talk
never
much.
talked. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
no.
I saw you
Yeah.
from afar because
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
you and Eric were really chatting it up. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'll let them
I was getting
talk. I'll be
down
over
with
here.
Eric
Okay.
guy is cool. Like,
Yep.
I wish I could get. He don't follow me on Twitter or nothing. I wasn't even on social media back then when I saw you guys.
Oh
Like,
wow.
I literally had no social
This is
media.
all new.
No. I've had social media before, like plenty.
Oh,
Facebook.
okay.
Like I said, this setup was my streaming setup. I used to stream on Facebook, riding my Harley.
Oh,
Live.
okay.
I used to live stream on my Harley, riding around, chatting. Just
That's cool.
acting
We
a
actually
fool.
had a guy back when we lived in Tennessee. He would GoPro riding his motorcycle. Or
Yep.
did he have a motorcycle, Eric?
Yep.
Or I thought it was a Kawasaki.
He had a crotch rocket.
Or a crotch rocket. Okay, I'm bad. I'm bad with that. With the
I've had a few different bikes.
oh yeah.
So I'm not new to social media or anything like that. It was just a disconnect for me. I needed to pull out and kind of take stock, because last July was when my back hurt real bad, to the point where it's touch and go. Like, this kind of pain, I'm gonna explain something to you guys. Lift with your knees, not your back, because a herniated disc.
Ooh.
It hurts your soul.
Yeah.
It touches deep.
I
So,
believe it.
I needed to just get away, kind of take stock of everything, get my own priorities straight, and I kind of finally found it. This want to get on here and say my piece, because it's just agitating me beyond belief that media, anime, you name it, it's everywhere, it's nonstop, and none of us workers got the time to say anything about it, because we're too goddamn busy working.
Yeah, we're too busy
exactly
doing just life. We're too busy just living.
Yep.
But
that's exactly what I did too with my new show too. Exactly out of that frustration.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is getting ridiculous. It's so stupid.
I'll cover it my way. I appreciate you guys coming on. I don't want to run this too much longer. Y'all gave me an hour and a half plus a half hour of troubleshooting. I appreciate it.
we'll give him a send off. You got to have like a tagline send off. What's it going to be?
Well, before that, that's Exasperated Expressions. You're on YouTube and Twitch,
Twitter,
or not Twitch?
Twitter,
Excuse me,
no,
Twitter. I always get Twitch. I always say Twitch because I'm on. I do
Twitter.
that.
Yeah.
Twitter.
I'm on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick around on YouTube. I plan on just keeping up my own little live streams. I might just throw on a game and shoot the shit while I talk about an issue that I'm seeing, or just doing like I did today, where I pull up the video, we look at it, and we could kind of break it down, and I could give my perspective. I hope somebody could find my perspective worth something.
I can.
because
I can too. Definitely can say that you're not alone with that sort of perspective and stuff like that.
Don't Dan, if you change your mind on streaming by yourself, I know several former military YouTubers.
There you go.
Yeah, I follow a few of them. I actually thought about doing some YouTube videos, but I actually have one for Nick that I want to do with him. And I think this would be amazing.
Get him.
Okay. I want to
Get that
pick
boy.
2 or 3 articles out of the UCMJ. Okay. And then give Nick a story of something that I saw in the military that pertained to those articles and how it pertained. I don't know. I think the UCMJ is interesting.
Fun. It'd be
I don't
fun.
I don't know if y'all ever read that, the UCMJ.
I don't know.
It's the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So it's exactly what it sounds like, and it is no joke. Yeah, UCMJ. Yeah.
Damn.
It's spicy. Sodomy's illegal.
In the military?
They got provisions for just we don't like you.
Just hit the
Like,
bricks.
just the extra. Here you go, one on top of whatever else you did wrong. Yeah, it's pretty spicy. The UCMJ is a funny read because
Dude.
you don't have rights anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Take that Constitution and do this, because once you got that uniform on, the ID, it says on the back of it, property of the U.S. government. They're not talking about the ID.
Yeah.
They're talking about the motherfucker on the picture. Okay.
That's like when I worked at Disney World. They were like, hey, you guys get to sign your rights away here to Mauschwitz.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah. Now, you know what Navy stands for, right? You know it's an acronym, right?
What is the acronym?
Never again volunteer yourself.
Wow.
You learn. Anyway,
Well,
I appreciate everybody coming on. You guys did me a solid.
For sure
I won't
did.
do you guys wrong, and I'll keeping up doing this because it's fun. I appreciate
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and I'm gonna fix the description for the new stream and everything before
There you
I go
go.
to bed for tonight. I really appreciate you guys in chat. Man, I had 7 people. That's pretty good. I remember Meme Copium when he was doing live streams like earlier last week. He had like 2 people, me and one other guy, and I just kept him in there. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get you there. Don't worry, I'm chatting. I spent hours, just trying to get his numbers up. Get him his monetization. It was fun, and I appreciate you guys coming on. Giving me just 7 people is more than enough for me. If
Hell yeah.
you ask my opinion, and I wanted to do it live because I wanted to have it to be kind of a free form discussion. And I wish I had somebody to push back on me a little bit. Maybe that would be nice. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Dude, definitely. Definitely.
Well, you say ha if we talk about Ralph as 2 people.
Oh gosh.
There's an inside
Yeah.
joke there.
The
The
gun.
gun. Yeah, the gun.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Ethan. Oh,
Wait a minute.
God.
Hey, have y'all seen this? I have to show y'all this before
Is it the
we end this.
him getting
No.
beat up again?
No.
Okay.
So Meme Copium made some art for us.
Oh, man.
Yeah. This is hilarious. Y'all ready for this?
I'm
All right.
ready.
Let's see it.
Bam.
Oh, my gosh. What? Oh.
So I
There's
love these.
You see
These
the
are
gun,
my
right? You see the gun? You see the little gun?
Oh my gosh.
So these specific memes are like one of my favorites because I love how like you can tell that was super quickly photoshopped
Wait.
and
But
just
this was
slapped
done
on.
on
But
live stream. This was done on live stream. You want to see Portugal, Ralph?
Oh my
You ready
gosh.
for Portugal, Ralph?
I'm
All right,
ready.
All right.
Bam.
Oh my. There's so much going on there.
no, the European purse.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and then one more.
Oh, the
one
raid.
more.
Oh, the
He built
rage
one
pig.
more. Oh, this one.
Oh,
It's green pastures.
oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah. He did a live stream making those, and he had a whole diagram, like a flow chart with all the characters. Go to his channel and check out that stream. It is hilarious.
I'm gonna have to now.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
go to Meme Copium's channel, check it out. He had the little the circles and lines everywhere. It was nuts, man. It was a good time. It was a really good time.
Well
Well, worst-
played.
Yeah.
Well
The
played.
worst green grab ever.
Same thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, chat. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and
Mhm.
end this. You guys
Right.
rock. Thanks.
Have an awesome night,
Yep.
y'all.
All right.
See you guys.
See you guys.